Pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You all got a copy of the minutes of the last meeting. Is there any additions or corrections?
No.
I move we accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded, we approve the minutes as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Department head reports. Mr. Havlin?
Good morning.
Good morning.
We've been busy trying to do some ditching on the roads, cleaning up some areas, getting the water off the roads if we can, in between the snow spells and the rain and all this other stuff's been going on. Been keeping us pretty busy. We've been going out picking trash up. Anytime somebody calls, something's out on the road, we go get it. Trying to help it make it look a little better out there. Not much you can do in this kind of weather. Just try to keep it as busy as you can. I've got them out there now getting their trucks ready for what's coming tonight. Make sure everybody's ready. Everyone's ready when it comes in. But that's pretty much all we've been doing.
Okay.
I've got something here. I'd like to replace one of the conveyors with a V-box. Because in the last month, we've had 3 of them go down. And it's not any good if they don't work when you don't send them out on the road. I got quotes from 3 different people here on this.
Thanks.
What I'd like to try to do is use the leftover money to pay for this that's left out of our truck payment. So we've got more in there what it's called for the payment. That's what that front page is showing you. Like I sat down with Debbie and we figured that all out. And there's enough in there to replace 1 box. And that's a start, because like I say, you can't depend on these conveyors. They don't hold up.
Never have worked right.
We've got one that we're just using for parts right now, try to keep the other 3 going. And it just, if you send them out and they break down, then you got to find something else for the other driver to drive, get out there and do the roads. And luckily we got some of the old trucks there we're still using. We put them in there.
Well, I can attest to the fact that what he's talking about, those V-boxes are junk.
You mean conveyors are junk?
Or the conveyor boxes we got are junk, yeah.
So I mean their junk is in age, or are they
No,
just...
they're not very old. They just never was very good to start with.
From the first day we started using them, they haven't worked right. They're not, they just slide into your tailgate and there's no slope in there to put the sand to the conveyor.
Right.
And when the sand is on it, it binds them up and it snaps the chain. It's the weight of the sand that's doing it to it. And I talked to the people up in Mid-State and they said they're designed for salt. And that's it. And salt don't weigh as much as the sand does. You're loading it in trucks. And it breaks up. When that sand's wet, it's just too heavy for them. And they're just not holding up. Like I said, we snapped 3 chains. The last time we went out, 3 of them went down. We had to repair them as they come in. They didn't go down all at once. Lucky they weren't all the same day. But they just one right after the other.
So when you buy the new one, are you going to have the same...
No, the V-boxes, they taper in. They're designed for sand. They work better. They throw everything right there on top of the chain, and you don't come in on the sides and underneath of it and all that stuff. Okay. We've been using the V-boxes for years. They just work better.
So you want to buy something that's actually designed for that purpose?
Yeah, right. To replace one of the conveyors.
I would suppose we do it. I mean, we have to keep that equipment down where the highway people got something to work with, and they just don't work and they're wore out.
So you have 1 or 2 quotes here, okay?
There should be 3 there.
3, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And the cheapest one is Coffin Burgers. You can see that on there. I mean, they're all pretty close except for the last one.
They're all suitable, right?
Yeah, they're all the same. I just sent them a copy of the specs for the V-box and what we use, and they send you back quotes on it.
Which one do you want?
I just go with the lowest one.
I'm sorry?
I just go with the lowest one. That's Coffin Burgers. They keep them on stock. You can go down there and pick one up and bring it right in. Just all you got to do is assemble it once you get it up here.
I'd entertain a motion that we do, let him go ahead and purchase the one that's the cheapest price.
So moved.
Second?
Then moved and second, we allow Jay to buy the fee box with the one with the cheapest bid. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. There you go.
That's all I have.
Okay? Thanks, Jay. Next one up is IT. Is Ben here? Well, maybe he had to step out. Billy Wason. Billy wanted to be top off the list, and I don't even see him. Maybe nobody wants to talk to us today. AJ?
Today was the day that Barton asked me to research whether or not the county commissioners could establish working hours for the elected officials in the courthouse and the county offices. And as I stressed last time, my initial belief was that the commissioners couldn't with the elected officials, and I still stand by that. I looked at the law for the treasurer, assessor, auditor, and surveyor, the clerk, the judge, and the prosecutor. And the Indiana Attorney General has done a good job, and I stressed this last time too. For all those offices, the AG stated succinctly that the Board of County Commissioners would have authority to designate the opening and closing hours of all offices within the courthouse, subject, however, to the approval of the elected official upon whom the responsibility rests for fulfilling his statutory duties, and of course when non-conflict with an existing statute designating specific hours during which the office must remain open. So I admire the clarity of the AG's assessment. The commissioners have this authority, except it's subject to the approval of the elected officials. So
We can keep the halls open and
that's right. You can keep the halls open, and you can keep open the offices that aren't directly the elected officials themselves. But
Okay.
the officials, their deputies, those they hire and their staffs, it's going to be really hard. Now, this explicitly states you can make the suggestion, essentially, but when it clashes with that elected representatives with their own view, I know. I'm not sure.
I think that's what we should do. I make the suggestion they keep it open. I mean, after all, the courthouse is here for the service of the people, not the convenience of the employees. So they can do what they wish, and if the public doesn't like what they're doing, then they can talk to them about it.
And I think, and that's kind of the point. There's also a separation of powers issue. You guys being the executive body, coming in conflict with other elected officials. You guys are elected officials yourselves. Right. And ultimately, all of you get answered to every 4 years, so the assessor.
That's right.
If people really have a problem, they can find their solution at the ballot box. Now, Bart, did you want me to, or do you want us to bring it up later? We have the rehiring of employees in the courthouse who've been laid off.
Well, I do, but before you get to that, also, might as well bring it out about the one office. I told you that was asking if to keep their doors open down the extension office, if they could have volunteer people come in.
Yeah. And to me, I believe that's just a matter of your policy. If they want to have a volunteer to keep the office doors open, and I believe it was because they both have meetings or
state called meetings or whatever that they have to go to
state called
at
meetings on
that
the
time.
same day. That's
So
right.
they just plain can't be there.
And here's the other thing. If a volunteer can fulfill the duty, then sure. But they can have that day off if the commissioners, the office can be shut down if the commissioners say that's okay. You guys can give the green light.
But it was her wishes to keep the office open if she could.
Okay. Well, I think that's a good solution then.
Is that her decision or ours about the volunteer?
Well, it would be your guys' decision.
And that's the extension office you're talking about?
Extension office, yes. So whatever your wishes is about that.
I don't have a problem with volunteers coming down if you could find one. I mean, they're not gonna get paid, so that's kind of a, you know, I mean, that's, I'm okay with it, but.
Frank?
Thinking like a police officer, does anyone in the office, would any of these people handle money? Would they be required to be bonded or anything like that?
It wouldn't be handling money. My understanding is all she wants is somebody to be there to answer the phone.
Just a meet and greet?
Yes.
Then I'll make a motion to allow volunteers for the extension office for when they are unable to occupy the office.
When they're, yeah, okay.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded, allowed to have volunteers when they are mandated to be out of the office. Both of them. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now, let's get on to that.
Okay, we don't really have a system in place, according to Debbie, for the rehiring of laid-off employees in the county back into the courthouse or back into the county position. And there's been the problem raised of, if we hire back somebody who's been laid off, do we rehire them back at the starting salary, or do we hire them back at their salary when they were let go? And there's nothing on the book that says otherwise. We talked about having an ordinance or a resolution from the county executive stating, well, clarifying the position. If we're going to hire them back, is it going to be at the starting salary, or is it going to be, you know, the last salary?
I think it would be a kick in the teeth if you hired somebody back and paid them less.
I completely agree. I completely agree. But, and Zane, I guess here's our position. Is that within a year? Is it within 6 months? If they've been gone for 2 years or 3 years,
Well,
it's up to you guys. It really.
My thought on that, and I didn't mean to cut you off. My thought on that is if you get the person that left the office that's going to rehire, you give them back what they left here with. If you hire somebody completely different, then you start them at a different salary.
I think that's, yeah.
There's also, it states in the personnel handbook about, and I don't know whether it called it category or classification, but there's different classifications. So, and the different classifications have different starting pays, you know, based on the office. So I think if someone is going in at the same classification, now if they were going in at a higher starting pay than what they left at, obviously they're going to get the higher pay. But
We wanted to bring that up at this meeting so that we could, it's on the record now, we can discuss it, I guess finalize it, the resolution at the next meeting, and have public comment on it as well.
Well, it was, I think it was the council's thoughts when they cut the budget and laid these people off, that if we rehired, if we did have any positions open, that we did rehire the people they laid off. So I would suggest that in our resolution that we would say that any new hires, if they were qualified, would come from that pool of people that laid off if it was within a 12-month period. I mean, you can't just keep that going forever, but put a time limit on it. So if you would draft what you think would be appropriate language, and then we can bring that up at our next meeting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Anything else?
I think that's it. You talked to me about the trustees and fence partitions.
About?
The fence partitions?
Oh, yes. Yes,
By the
we've got a
trustees.
trustee that called up and has a fence dispute and wants to know whether she can build the fence, but she doesn't have any money.
Right, right. And there's actually a very big code section on this. It's pretty long code. And only in these rural counties, I mean, I know in Union County they see it too, Fayette County as well, where you have these old fence disputes. The law is very old. and this is how I believe the trustees should handle it. They're going to ask the county executive for those funds, okay? The county executive is going to be reimbursed on the tax statement because, first of all, there's going to be notice provisions that whoever's not, let me start this over. There's clearly two property owners in this. One property owner apparently doesn't want to fork out any money to build the fence. And when that happens, then you can go to the township trustee and ask them to build the fence for you. And then the township trustee will actually bill the party who doesn't want to put any money into it, put any time into it. They'll bill him on their taxes the following year. And that's how the county, the township, the county executive, they recoup that money. And it comes out of the general fund. So it'll be the executive general fund. And that's how it'll get paid for. And again, you'll recoup it through taxes the next year.
What is this fence for? I'm sorry.
It's a partition fence.
It's a
Between
line fence.
agricultural land.
Between two farms.
It's required where you have livestock or not, just part of the county ordinance.
Or state.
Yeah, it's a state.
It's a state-
not-
it's a
excuse
state
me, Yeah,
law.
but I mean, it applies to the county, just to separate your land from mine.
But it has to generally be, it's got to fall under agricultural land, and that's whether it's been zoned or otherwise designated as agricultural land, used for growing crops or raising livestock, or reserved for conservation. And conservation, literally, if there's a forest on the other side of that fence, if it's in a conservation trust, deeded to a conservation trust.
So then, if I understand you right, we really don't have any decision we have to make. She can just bill the county for.
Correct, correct.
For whatever it costs to build the fence and put it on his taxes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
how
what
it's
she
gonna-
needed, that's what she needed to know.
That's how it's going to get done. But what the township trustee is going to need to give the other party, and perhaps neither one of them is wanting to fork out the money for it, maybe not the trustee, but she has to give them notice of the fact that she's going to do that, at least 20 days notice. There's provisions, and I'll need to get with the township trustee, I believe.
Why don't we do, just have her give you a ring and you can let it. Okay.
It's
Does she have to bid that out?
well, that's another thing.
No, she does not.
And I believe that's because, well, the statute provides she just has to use the normal building materials for it, and then, I mean, those are even specified. It's a bizarre thing to bring up at a meeting, at a commissioners meeting, but there it is. These disputes happen all the time, I think. So.
Well,
It's not that complicated, Mr. President.
I understand that, but she wanted, one person was telling her one thing and one another, and she wanted it defined so she knew what she could do.
Sure.
So now we've got that done.
It's
Back-
a little offense.
Back to one more thing before we move on, the thing with the people being laid off and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Are you writing this up as in something we're gonna have to vote on at some point?
I believe we'll write it up as, yeah, actually.
But yeah,
Yeah.
And that the timeline, if we put a timeline on the people being hired back to get their old salary back, can we put it in there that the day we vote on it, that's how much time they, not from when they were let go? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. But I mean, I think what
well,
I would like to get all of your input on it.
You can do whatever you
If
wanna
we're gonna
do.
put it on a resolution.
I personally think a year is a little not enough. Because you could be, I mean, time flies quickly, especially when you're out of work. And I've seen some of these ladies and some of these men in these offices here, and they've got specialized skills or experience. So I would like to see it for at least 2 years.
Yeah, I think we'll get some public comment on this at the next meeting.
Okay.
is that it, AJ?
That's all I got.
Okay. Billy?
Sorry I'm late. We have training on the new dishwasher that was installed, so.
Training for you?
Well, ultimately, if nobody can work it, I have to make sure I at least know how a little.
Does your wife know you can load a dishwasher?
No, I don't, we have a dishwasher, I don't even use it. It's faster in the sink. So, let's do it myself. I don't have a lot. I just have the annual jail report for 2012. You guys can look that over at your leisure. If you go back to, on the front page, it tells you what we have to put in the report. It's required every year. We have to do one. We forward copies to the president of the board. So I just gave you guys each one of your own since you guys are new and you haven't seen, well, Frank's seen one before, but Zane hasn't. So it sort of talks about what happened in 2012. It has to do with the jail itself. And we have to forward copies of this to each judge, to the prosecutor, to the auditor, so they can review it and have it further put in a file, I assume. I'm not sure how much they actually look at it, but it's got a lot of interesting statistics in it that we track. If you look on page, which would be page 3, the booking statistics, it shows our admissions for 2012 were 1,025, and for 2011 it was 1,187. So our bookings were down. Our males arrests were down. They're sort of all, you can sort of look at the numbers and they all run about the same as far as a breakdown of who was arrested, male, female. If you look at our average daily population, in 2011 it was running 130 a day. For 2012 it ran 108 for an average. That was for the entire year, each day. That doesn't include, on the weekends through the summer. I mean, look at the arrest report today in today's paper. Holy moly. So it doesn't account for, 15 people getting arrested on a Saturday night, and, it reflects an average of the year. So you go to the next page, it talks about our Department of Corrections money. In 2010, $492,000. In 2011, $244,000. I'm just rounding these numbers, I'm not giving you that. In 2012, we still made $70,300. So not quite the 11 or the 10 number, obviously, but still better than the kick in the teeth. So the next page shows our top 10 charges. We sort of had a change this year where 2012 theft reigned supreme over the land. 264 people were charged with that for 2012. So those numbers are up. OBWI is still right at the top. So DUI, drunk driving. One of the really curious to show you is going back back to transports. The heading is transports. And I didn't realize this until we started doing the numbers and putting all this together, that our transport officer and jail officers drove a total of 45,000 miles in 2012 for transports. That's to DOC facilities, medical facilities, transports to mental institutions, transports all over the state. So that's a lot. It's quite a big number for driving. That's a lot of gas. If you drop down to our overtime, we got that down a couple $1,000s, almost $3 actually, to $23,000, down from $25,900 in 2011. The medical billing, if you look at our 2011 stats, it was $154,000, almost $155,000. In 2012, we were at $137,000. So I'm pretty proud of that. As far as everything we're doing, that medical thing. I mean, back, 7, 8 years ago, Frank, you guys who were here, that used to be, in the 300,000 area. It just was crazy. So we sort of got that under control the best we can. Still a high number, but there's nothing we can do about that. We have to pay that. We're obligated. So, the jail kitchen. If you turn to the next page, that budget's about $300,000 for the year. I mean, and out of that, we're taking care of cooks. We're fixing meals, 3 a day, every day. Do the math on that for a month and a year. That's a lot of meals. We're averaging $3.90 a meal is our average. So that's not too bad. Last year I checked in, there was some rumblings about wanting to maybe contract this out. I think Union County Jail does it, maybe Rush County Jail. When I checked on doing that here, the only local place we really could use would be the hospital, and that was going to run $6 a meal, and we had to transport. there's no way we can transport 3 meals a day, every day. I don't have the manpower for that. And besides that, it's almost double the price. So it's economical to do what we're doing at the jail, even though we're having to put money in the kitchen. And, but we're still, compared to everything else, it's still about half price. So, other than that, there you can see on the almost next to last page, the showers. Those are going to have to be addressed this year. And we're going to have to come over, you guys come over and take a look at them. And the 2 we fixed that we put all the money in are working pretty well. The rust hasn't come back through. They're not leaking out the walls into the other, outside the building or into other cells. But there's some pictures of some that, the other 6 that are going to have to be addressed. Whether we do them all at once or whether we come in here and do 2 of them again. Now that we've cleaned up the kitchen and we've cleaned up some other issues, the jail inspector, he's going to focus on this. Okay. Last year it was the kitchen and the fire alarms. Those have all been upgraded. The repairs have been made, and we've got that taken care of. But I guarantee he's going to focus on the shower problem.
Have you got any idea of cost on that?
No, I can't remember what the last 2 we done. Were they 50,000 for 2 of them? Something like that, or 24,000 for 2 of them. They were about, I thought, 11,000 a piece, which is a lot of money, but.
But you plan to, once you get this done, I mean, you're not going to have this issue.
Well, it's one of those, we don't have it for quite a while. We tried different things. We did the rhino lining. We went in there and ground these things down. Me and Bob Revely put the rhino lining stuff on, and it held for about 3 months, and there's not a lot of ventilation in there. So all that moisture, those showers a day, those guys are in there all through the day taking a shower, all that moisture can't get out, so it gets right on that metal and rusts right back through.
How long have we been since we fixed those other 2?
Almost 4 years, and they're holding, so.
Okay.
So that's not too bad considering the amount of use they get. But that's going to have to come up. The padded cells on the back page, it takes a hit every time we get somebody in there that's just lost their mind, which is quite regularly. We've recouped about $3,000 though in restitution, where that really was never pursued a lot so far. We got about $3 grand back, and a couple of people have been. We usually hit them for $1,000 each time somebody does it. We hit them for $1,000. So we just got $1,000 yesterday from one of our clients.
Maybe they'll think the next time they're in there.
Well, I would hope, but you never know. But that padded cell, repairing that's pretty expensive. I mean, it's anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 every time we have it fixed. And those, you wouldn't think they could get in there and find a little crack or something in there, and they get their finger in there. Before you know it, they tore off a whole big section. And you see some of the pictures, then they eat it, and it's chaos. I need a video, bring you guys some video over and play some video here for you. So that pretty much covers. I mean, that was pretty quick going through it, but you guys have your own copy to set and look through.
Billy, you got a notation here about your phone system? You're talking about the regular phones?
Yeah, we're looking at trying to upgrade those to sort of what I guess the courthouse is going to Synergy Metronet. Is that correct?
Well, thinking about
Yeah, we're looking. I guess we're going to be looking maybe doing that too if they can save us some money. The jail phones themselves, we've got a new thing. Securus is who we do our contract with. For them, they handle all of that. They're providing great service so far. We haven't had a bit of problem. So that contract's not due up for 2 more years. So that'll be the next sheriff's. He can deal with that, or she can deal with that, whichever it is. So, any questions about the report? Anything, concerns?
We'll look at it, maybe have some next meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. You guys watch the weather today. It's going to get nasty from what we're hearing. So, Jay, I'll probably be seeing you, I'm sure. Everybody have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Billy.
Thank you, Billy.
Council Representative Shirley, you got anything you want to talk to us about? Okay. EDG, Pete?
Morning.
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 Morning. This afternoon, Project Arsenal will be having a teleconference with them at 3 o'clock this afternoon. We hope to have a firm and established timeline on that project today. That's the intent of the conference call. Project JET, that's the company from Florida. They're supposed to be in the community on the 17th. Haven't heard from them to confirm that, but we did try to call them. Project R called, that's Big R Stores, called last week. They want to come down within the next 2 weeks to visit again. And again, this is the old Kmart building. It's been going on and on and on, you know, but we can only continue to work on it and hope that something positive comes out of it. Next 2 items are kind of exciting items, especially for members of the commissioners and council. Last week before last, we had, you see on my report monthly that we respond to leads from the state. We had responded to a lead from the state latter part of last year. We got a response. The principals of the company came in to visit and look at our community, along with 2 other communities, and were impressed with what they saw in Connersville and Fayette County. Barton and Leonard Urban, the mayor, and myself went to dinner with them after their site visit. Very enjoyable dinner, although Barton didn't like it. I did. And then we had the privilege of riding home on a Thursday night in an ice storm. But it was a productive meeting. Out of that meeting came a request that we come to their facility. Barton was unable to go. Shirley volunteered to go. And last Friday, we spent about 19 hours on the road visiting their site. Their site was impressive. Their product line is impressive. And we continue to work with them in hopes of bringing them to Connersville and Fayette County. We had 3 phone calls from the principal and the consultant that's working with them yesterday gathering information. So we're working forward with it, no promises. We're in a competitive situation, but it looks as promising as they can look. You want to add anything to that, Shirley, to that trip? That was your first time on one of these economic development ventures, so.
Well, I too was impressed with their product line, the potential that they have, the work they've gone through, and I think they're anxious to get started in production.
And just as a point of clarification, they've done all their research and development. Technical work is all done. All the environmental testing required by the project done. And now it's establishing a manufacturing site for the product.
Are they established business? Or are they just starting out?
No, they're established. I attended the Japanese American Association conference last week. And the Japanese have one of the largest employers in the state of Indiana. So we felt it was important to have a presence there to let them know that Connersville and Fayette County were here. I've kept your council, commissioners and council pretty busy over the last few weeks assisting on projects. One of the big things that we're working on is a regional economic development initiative. Some of you might recall, I know Debbie does, that years back we were affiliated with Eastern Indiana Economic Development District, EDI. We withdrew our membership from that organization because the feeling was that we weren't getting any real benefit from belonging to the organization. The state is pushing regionalization. They feel that it's important for communities like ours in Wayne County and Henry County, Franklin County, to come together and present a regional face to economic development. So Shirley and Barton attended that first meeting with us. They're trying to reform what was EDI, or EIDD, I'm sorry. And we will probably be asking, based on the recommendations of the commissioners and the council, asking for your support in that initiative. As a point of clarification, that allows us to access funds that we don't have access to now, called EDA funds. And that's primarily for infrastructure type projects. Framco, won't talk about that anymore, it's a done deal. Project Lawn, anybody been up on the north side of town? They're really making a lot of headway up there. And I think they'll be having their grand opening on, I think, the 19th of March. So, are there any questions?
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks for, getting the ground running. It sounds like we're making headway.
We're trying. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pete. Ma'am, Debbie?
Well, what you have here, and this was just something that came from an asphalt pavement preservation company inviting you to come to the road school, which is tomorrow.
This week, tomorrow,
Yeah, tomorrow.
right.
Well, that's what they invited on that date, so,
That's it?
yeah.
Okay. Old business, we have none. That you know of, right? New business, Soapbox Derby Street closing. John Clausen. John here?
I'm here. Good morning.
Right.
I've got some information for you. This is what we're requesting. For you too. With the upcoming bicentennial, of course, we're bringing back the Soapbox Derby, which the last time it ran was in 1951. And Rick Frank's grandfather, I guess, Jim Frank, was the winner of that race. He's part of our board now. And we're working on bringing that back. We have so far sold nearly 50 cars, which will be entered in the race. Each car is capable of actually having a total of 3 drivers, as we have 3 race classes. We have 3 classes, which are 7 to 9-year-olds, 10 to 13-year-olds, and 14 to 17-year-olds. Those different classes will race slightly differently. The 7 to 9-year-olds will race on a short track. So the speeds of the cars are greatly reduced from what they would otherwise be. In our testing, we found that our test vehicle we built, kind of a demonstration vehicle, it reached 37 miles per hour, so it is pretty impressive. We made the cars extremely safe by using the All-American Soapbox Derby steering and braking system, which upon testing our car worked great. It's very safe and responsive. What we're requesting is actually 4 days of closing Ziegler Road. Race day, of course, is June 22nd, and we would be racing down the primary large hill towards 121, which is on the west side. The east side of Ziegler Road. And the other days would be Saturday, April 27th, Saturday, May 11th, and Saturday, June 1st. The reason we want to close the road on those days is so that we can do practice days and qualification days. All of that is geared towards safety because this type of race has not been done for a long, long time. The kids that are participating in the race, we want to make sure that they get experience before they actually race on race day. So the idea would be on practice day on April 27th, we would race 1 car at a time down the short hill, which will keep the speed at about 20 miles per hour or lower. Just gives them an experience of how to drive the car and makes them more comfortable with driving. And then on May 11th and June 1st is practice and qualification days. Now qualification is an actual run down the main hill, just as they would run down race hill, down the race day hill, with cones up so that they have to qualify, which is simply they have to go down the hill without hitting any cones, and they have to brake within a certain distance at the bottom. That just shows that they're capable of driving their car safely before we have anybody else around them. And so those are the days. I kind of put a little map down there so you can see where the short and long hill are located. And
Are you talking about wanting to close the whole road or just drop the hill?
for safety, I think we probably ought to close the whole road. There's really nothing on that road except for
the
higher
church, right?
praise.
Consider the church.
Yes, and we've talked to them.
And they're fine with this?
Yeah, they have no problem.
Okay.
Now there is a garage that I noticed located, somebody has built. I don't know whose it is.
Not sure. If I could find that out for you.
That would be good because I'd like to notify them as well, but there's no way to know. They don't have a mailbox, so I think it's just somebody's storage facility.
On the days of the qualifying, the practice, and race day, are you going to have EMS there?
We can, yeah. That would be a good idea.
You just never know.
Right. That's a good point. We don't foresee any problems, but we do know that learning to race the cars is a little bit, intimidating to begin with because they've never done it before, which is why we want to ease into it over several days. So the first day we'll practice the daylights on that short hill, and the kids will get bored with that, but they'll get the experience of steering the car and braking the car at a slow speed, and then we'll build up to that. Of course, the 7 to 9-year-olds, that'll be a much slower race anyway. So.
And they'll all wear helmets.
Oh yes.
I understand that the city is requiring some of the people that's putting on some of these projects to carry liability insurance for those. Are you going to do that, or do we need to be? Well, I was going to ask.
From what I was told, the city liability policy on the bicentennial covers us as well.
Okay.
It does what? I'm sorry.
It covers the soapbox derby race as well, which is one of our primary concerns, that we were covered under that. So I will be sure that we have coverage on practice days as well.
It would be a good thing. I see no reason for us not to do it. I'd like to have a motion that we approve it, subject to the insurance being in there, provided by somebody.
Are you finished, John?
I have one other request in regards to this too.
Okay.
At the bottom of the hill, we will need to create a finish line, which will require us to string a wire across the road on race day, so that we can suspend the lane indicators. The finish line will actually be laser indicated, and the correct lane will light up for the winner. In order to suspend that wire, though, we're going to need some form of poles that are set off the road that we can attach those lines to. So we would also like permission to install probably maybe a telephone poles either side. Of course, so we'll need to probably get with the highway department.
And then take them out when you get done?
We can, sure. But we'd want to install those in advance so that we can test the lasers and whatnot as well. So, but we'd want to make sure we had plenty of setback on those poles. We don't want them to be an impediment to the road, obviously, at all. So, but we need to, obviously talk to the highway department, see what they want.
Make sure they're not set back more than what.
I'm sorry?
Make sure they're not set back more than the right of way is, or you'd have to talk to the landowners.
Oh, sure. Yes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the closing of Ziegler Road on the dates given to us, subject to sufficient liability insurance coverage.
I'll second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There, you got your soapbox there.
All right. Can I go ahead and work on the telephone poles as well then?
Jay?
Yeah, just get with Jay there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Esto Day.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have a copy of my request here.
I think I got that. Did everybody
Did
get that?
did everybody get it?
Well, I got it, but I don't know where it's at right on the minute.
I've got it.
I'm a member of the Whitewater Valley Railroad, and we would like to have our day out with Thomas again this year, as we've had the last about 10 or 11 years. For that event, it's scheduled for June 14, 15, 16, and 21, 22, and 23. We request your permission for the following. Close the following parking lots for the days listed above. The west side of the courthouse and between the courthouse and Burkhart's. Erect tents in parts of all 3 parking lots. Oh, should be 2. We're not using the parking lot down in the corner of 3rd and down there.
You're not using the jail parking lot?
We're not using the jail parking lot this year. That's correct. We'll erect tents on June 12th and remove them on June 24th. We'll place other needed items in the lots starting June 12th Everything is to be removed on June 24th unless some of the tents are needed for the bicentennial, and if they are, they will contact you for that. We'll leave as much parking as possible on June 12th and 13th and during the week between the Thomas event, 2 weekends.
Which isn't much, generally, as a rule.
I'm sorry?
Which isn't much parking left as a rule, but
That's correct.
This is something you've done every year, right?
for years, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be the same as last year, except we're not using the jail parking lot.
You know, it seems to be a big deal for the town, and it's done it every year.
Bring a lot of people to town.
I'll make a motion to accept the closing of these parking lots and for Thomas and Train on these days.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. There you go.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
Judge Butch, she here? She's up here twice. Terry Bennett?
Oh, you missed a court, you missed Bob Martin.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah.
I approached Commissioner Jackson yesterday in purchasing for newly hired dispatchers. Some of them don't have experience in listening to the radio traffic, and I wanted to purchase some desktop scanners for them to issue out to them so they can listen to it at home, assist in their training to learn the traffic, the lingo, and how we do things. It's different when you're hearing it on that side than when you're doing it. I went to Radio Shack. That is the only kind of scanner that they have. They do not have the desktop. They have the portable ones. That one is $109.99, and then it also had a $20 adapter charge to it, so you're talking $130 for one of those. They did have 3. I went ahead and picked those up. I can always return them. I'm not happy about having the portable type. I would rather have the desktop type, but I'm kind of limited into where we do have accounts and things like that, and they didn't have the desktop type in stock. So I wanted permission to purchase those for training purposes, to go ahead and use those 3 that we do have, because we're in training right now with some new dispatchers, and then in the future try to look at some cheap desktop ones to issue out.
Do they not carry the desktop?
From what they told us was that they don't have any in stock. They can order them. They don't know how much they would be or how long it would be before they got them in.
Okay.
And I had all intentions of yesterday researching it, but I was just exhausted and I didn't get home till 8 o'clock. So it was, so I'm going to look today and try to see what I can find, because I mean, we tried Walmart. They don't carry them. We do have an account with Radio Shack, so I'm going to try to see what we can do.
Is there, the other question I have is, does Adrian have any he's not using?
Anything that the emergency services would probably have are the portables that you can talk into.
Right.
I don't really want to issue those to them to have at home.
Okay.
Even though they are 911 and I can trust them with it,
Right.
Kids sometimes get a hold of them, things like that. I would like to go ahead and get these 3. I would like to have 6 or 7 total. But I'm most definitely going to ask
The reason I'm asking the question is because you said you really don't want these, but I mean, you got to have something, so I was just throwing ideas out there.
Right. I'm not, I'm going to ask some department heads, and some people probably have some that they'll give to us too, that we can program in, so.
So how many are you requesting from us?
I would like to get 6 or 7 total, and those 3, so 4 or more.
I'll split the difference and go 6.5. How's
Okay.
that sound? I'll make a motion to, and this is coming out of where the money is?
It would come out of my training line item, or I could probably put it out of my equipment line item. I do have the money for it budgeted, so.
I'll move to authorize Terry to purchase up to and including 7 portable, scanners as described here this morning.
The only other question I have real quick is, Is Radio Shack willing to give you a discount because you're buying that many? Because I just did the math, it's $840.
Yeah, those three that I purchased yesterday were $389. I can ask them.
Okay, I'm
I
just,
mean, and I will most definitely see if there's anybody that has any laying around that they will donate. I mean, it doesn't have to be, those are far none.
I mean, it's in your budget, but I'm just,
Right,
you know.
right.
But are you saying we have to have them now and
Well,
prior to our meeting in 2 weeks?
I'm right now, today is day 2 of 5 new dispatchers of their training. I'm figuring by the time I get them programmed, you're talking another week issue till, So I would like to at least get these 3 going, and I'll work on getting the other ones. I mean, hopefully I can get them cheaper, so.
The 3 is what you need right now?
Well, that's all I can get right now. But I mean, this came up yesterday afternoon. Yesterday was day 1 of training, and in looking at them some, I thought, that would be an invaluable training tool to have that, at home to listen to.
And it does work, because my
You're
wife,
welcome.
I said it does work, because my wife will tell you every code there is and what it is, and she's not even a dispatcher.
Yeah, and most of them, well, I have 3 of them that I've dispatched at different agencies. They do things different. I mean, even, Union County does it different than Fayette County, so.
Give you a little perspective, when a new officer or dispatcher starts out, they're pretty much told, listen and watch what everybody else around you is doing. Pick the best parts of that officer, that dispatcher, and incorporate their way of doing things into your way of doing things, and discard the bad. And one of the best ways for a dispatcher to do that is to listen to other dispatchers, other agencies, and see what they like, what they don't like, what's professional, what isn't professional. That's why, and I've been, many directors prior to you, I've been urging them to do this same thing for a long time, so.
You made a motion.
That is fine. The only problem I have is doing something on the spur of the moment. I would like to have just been planning for us and got some quotes. We want to buy stuff in town if we can, but if we don't have it, I hate to be saying we have to buy three. That's all the people in town's got, and it's kind of like a.
In all honesty, I will
in front of
probably
the county.
be able to find some that are, the remaining 4, I will probably be able to find some.
What I'm saying is I would like to go through that process before, so we knew what the best deal was.
Now, one other thing I guess you could do, if you wanted her to see if she could find something on the internet, would be to allow her to use her credit card on a one-time basis,
Like eBay or something?
Well, or I don't know, or any place where they would have them, cheaper than what she maybe could be able to find otherwise. I know Ben has been able to find some things, but he only uses that when you approve that he can use the card for that purpose, since the card's set up for travel only, so.
The only places that I can shop in Connersville is Walmart, and I have an account at Gilman's and Radio Shack. That's it.
I understand.
I mean, so I am limited to where I can.
But if we can't,
But there aren't many more places either,
No,
so.
this is true.
we want to buy
This
here,
is
but
true.
if we can't get the stuff here. The other question I had, being you're putting these radios in people's homes,
They will be-
they should be responsible that they get them back to you and work in order.
Absolutely. I will have paperwork drawn up to where it is a department issued. They have to be surrendered upon termination. And in all seriousness, I also want to do this as a training tool. They aren't going to have these 5 years from now, just during their training part.
Then they come back
Probably
to-
the first year and a half.
You used to keep a pool of them and
Yeah,
rotate them.
yeah, it would be department issued, and I inspect, like my supervisor has a laptop, I inspect it, once a year, make sure everything's still working, she brings it in, make sure all the parts are there. I mean, yeah.
And we have a motion on the floor, do we have a second?
Second.
Then moved and seconded by Terry to buy 7 radios. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The only other thing I'm gonna throw in there, I do have the database built for the courthouse employees. Debbie forwarded an email to all of them. I'll be doing a demonstration for the courthouse employees that are new on the database Thursday at 1:15 here. As I put in the email, a lot of times they'll want an additional way to be contacted, and I can add them into that time as well. So, and this will be the back end that we approved at the last meeting.
You're talking about Everbridge?
Yes, yeah, where I had to ask for the additional numbers to put those in, so I'll be doing that Thursday at 1:15, so.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Did the judge ever show up? No?
You want me to send Sharon to see?
You'll be calling.
Yeah, call and
Sharon
tell,
could-
tell, huh?
Well, you have her program. I was gonna say
Yeah,
Sharon.
tell her we're about ready to wind this up if she wants to talk to us. Patrons concerned, anybody?
Wait.
What?
I'm sorry.
What?
Bob Martin.
You skipped over Bob Martin.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And
I
then
did
we
not
also need to
intentionally.
get Kenny Whiteside in there too. Go ahead.
Hey, who's this with?
Bob?
Ian?
Bob,
Yeah, this is
Frank
Frank. How are you? Hey, we're about ready to wind up our meeting, judges.
And I'm Bob Martin, along with Stan Howard. We're the day coordinators for Saturday's Veterans Bicentennial.
She's on the.
And I'm seeking permission to have the courthouse open to view the mural from 4 to 7 on Saturday, July the 6th. That would be the only area that I would have, and I'm sure that you'd want open in the courthouse. You wouldn't want people going all over the courthouse. But we probably need the handicap entrance and the elevator available, and maybe the restrooms. And all I would need would be a contact person and a backup person to, somebody to open and close the building. And we would have volunteers here helping to assist the people where to go and
Kind of maintain order.
yeah. And
Is it July 6th?
I just need the name of your permission, and I just need the name of and phone number of the person who would unlock the building, have it ready. Probably have to have the areas roped off so people don't start wandering around in the courthouse.
Okay. I don't see a problem with it. We've done it before when we had things going on.
Thank
People are
you.
interested in seeing the courthouse, and especially the ceiling in the courtroom. I don't know. Well, we can have a motion to allow him to do it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have a motion to open the courthouse.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Who do you want as contact person?
Roy,
Probably Bill
Bill-
Gray.
Call, we'll get you the number of Bill Gray. He's the maintenance director here.
Bill Gray.
Bill Gray.
Okay, that'd be
Uh,
fine.
If you'll see me right after the meeting, I'll get you his number.
Or you can stop over in the auditor's office and
Well, I
somebody
can
can
stop
get
in
the
your
number.
order's
Yeah,
office and
that's
get
fine.
that then.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
All right, thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks.
Mr. President, the judge is going to come to the next meeting.
Okay, that's fine. Kenny Whiteside,
Good morning.
morning.
My name is Kenny Whiteside, and I'm here along with fellow board member of the Everton Sewer District, Richard Kidd, and we're here today. We're a county entity and like to come around every so often and bring you up to date where we're at and what we're doing. We just finished up State Board of Accounts audit, which went very well. There was nothing outstanding or needed to be corrected, so that's a good thing that we can get that clean bill of health from them and everything. We are operating in the black still with limited funds, and we are got several programs going forward right now. One being the hydrogen sulfide program, and we're trying to get a grip on not how to eliminate it, so to speak, but how to control it. I don't think we'll ever eliminate it. It's just the nature of the beast there. There's two types of odor that go with that. One is from the hydrogen sulfide, and the other one is from just regular sewer gas smell, and there's a big difference there. Our current board, we've got a very rounded, proactive board, and we're taking on several of these projects and trying to get a better control over the whole district. Most of the members here are new board commissioners, and we are, our system was installed in 1996, and it was built oversized for expansion, which brought a totally different type of issues and problems associated when no expansion came in the district out there. We have tried several ventures of trying to obtain grants. We've tried 3 times, and we've been unsuccessful, but we currently are looking at a bond refinance, which will be able to reduce our amount and our interest that we are currently paying, and we'll be able to obtain some project money off of it to move some of these projects forward. We've implemented several programs through several meetings with IDEM. The inspector for this area, we've built a very good relationship with him, and he has given us a lot of insight what is forthcoming on the state level as requirements. So we have gotten plans, procedures, and collection, recording, all kinds of things, so that whenever IDEM, the state, comes in and says a regional sewer district is now required to do this, we're completely ahead of them. Actually, I've got some of the other sewer regionals that have been calling whenever they've heard a little bit about what the IDEM is planning to do. But the biggest thing right now is to come, let you know roughly what we do, because we do answer to you guys, and we have an open door policy. You guys are welcome anytime at our meetings, but we will come periodically. I think that's being proactive and keeping everything in front of what's going on and what happens. So if you got any questions, I'll be more than glad to answer them. And
when are your meetings?
Our meeting is on the 3rd Tuesday of every month at the Everton Water Corporation office at 7 p.m. We do have a special call meeting tomorrow evening of the Everton Regional Sewer District Board. It is posted as a public meeting because all of our meetings are public, and we will be going over the bond refinance with the prospective of First Financial here locally. Has been able to put together some good numbers where we had been last year unsuccessful with Oppenheimer and City Securities. But this looks very promising and very containable. If this goes through, we will be keeping our same years and our same payment and obtaining some project money and stuff. So it's a good plus for the sewer district. The whole thing of what we're trying to achieve and keep flowing is to be able to keep under control the cost to our customer base. A lot of them in that area are retired, and so pretty much right now what we've been doing is a pass-through whenever the city of Connersville raises their rates to us, which happened last year, and it's going to happen again this year, so that'll be a pass-through. Other than that, we have been able to contain our operating costs, reduce and improved efficiency of the sewer district and everything. So we're making a lot of headway. We've got a lot of programs that we're getting ready to kick off and move forward on. We've got containment plans. We've got for spills, what you do, how you're going to react. Power outage is a big thing right now. The district does not have a portable generator, so we're looking for a portable generator, which I talked to Adrian, and Dick has talked to Adrian, and trying to utilize some of the resources that we have without having to go and spend a lot of money for it. The major ice storm we had a few years ago,
It created a lot of problems, not only for us, but for the whole county. So we're looking at, trying to find a way to have a portable generator to go from lift station to lift station, since we're rural, which would be. But one thing about when we lose the power from Duke Energy, Whitewater REMC, we have no valve. We can't shut it off. So it becomes a real problem if we got a major lift station that continues to flow in it, and if it starts to overflow, flows into a stream, you got IDM issues. So we keep a real close eye on that. We've got good contacts now with Duke and Whitewater REMC to try to have timing and know if we need to have portable trucks come in to start pumping some of these stations, etc. So, it's just one of those things. We don't have a valve. We can't shut people off. It's against the law.
Right.
Okay.
Any questions? Concerns? Very comprehensive report. Thank you.
No.
Well, thank you guys. I thank you for, in the past, the commissioners have been very supportive. And again, we'll extend, we have the open door policy. If you have any questions, any concerns, any complaints, get a hold of us. That's what we want to do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we're down to patrons' concerns. Anybody else?
Mr. President, my name is Marion Dalrymple, Orange Township trustee. To help this board answer the trustees' questions, the state of Indiana, the State Board of Accounts, sends out a CD to each trustee listing all of the Indiana state codes. And in section 36, this trustee will be able to find the township government law on partition fences. So you might refer that to her. If they do not have a copy of the Indiana code, I have extras, or year before last year's, I would be happy to give her one of those. It's really none of my business, Mr. President, but I kind of agree with Frank on the layoff time with someone that's been laid off here at the courthouse. I'd like to see this board consider 1 year of callback rights for each year of service up to 3 years. A person that's worked here at least 3 years has got a tremendous amount of experience and knowledge that would be hard to replace if we bypassed them and hired somebody else. Just my personal opinion. Mr. President, why don't we use a projector anymore to...
The camera's broken. The camera was broken, and we were supposed to be getting a camera ordered, and we have not gotten that yet.
Okay. And another thing is when the commissioners are presented bills and things from different companies, when you take bids and stuff, we as the audience, we never usually hear those bills, what the amounts are, and who the companies are that are bidding. And me personally, that's of great interest for me to know those things. And the last thing is, I'm kind of upset that, well, I know probably 2 of the members weren't here last year when this happened, but the Mahan Park, there was trees cut out of Mahan Park and gravel spread there that was done by the county highway garage. I think that all the money that comes for the highway garage comes from different tax base, and I don't think our county highway department ought to be working on county parks. I know that the general fund has its own monies set aside for the county parks, and if the county highway department is slacking and you say, hey, go down there and do that, well then I think probably out of the general fund, the county highway department, who operates on its own budget, should be reimbursed for doing that. That's all I have, Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you. Anybody else? Randy?
Randy White from Fayette Regional Hospital. Pass this out. What I'm asking the commission for is a potential change in the ordinance. We did not change any of the verbiage the way it is written, but as you can see on the second, third page with the double understriking of the wording there, what I'm continuing up on is an opportunity that was presented in front of the county to rezone late last year. We put a very vital asset to this community in a difficult to defend position. There's a lot to have to understand about healthcare financing, and the way that we are reimbursed, which is constantly under duress, as you understand in sequestration. One of the two main areas to get hurt is healthcare financing. What we are asking for is this opportunity to go back and to at least have a discovery period for any attempts to rezone healthcare and medical clinics or emergency services in this county. We're not asking for it to not happen, but we're asking for it at least for there to be a discovery period there, as underlined on the second page and over on the third page. Just to remind the county commissioners, the hospital annually gives in $26 million in salaries, which are the vast majority of our people are very local. We bring in $52 million from outsourced labor, billing it to the federal government through Medicare, through the state government on Medicaid. And those dollars stay here in this community and are used for businesses like Shumway, Pavers, and everyone else that we use to expand. Given that the hospital has turned around since the loss of Visteon, we have very tight profit margins, as do the majority of hospitals across the nation right now. If it is to the board and to the county's liking to protect this vital asset, I guess this is a siren's call to at least put something in the roadway where there is a discovery period for anything trying to come in, and there is a chance to have discussion over the asset or the detriment that said entity would bring or take away from the community.
Have you brought this up to the area planning commission, or?
I have tried to get in front of Mr. Bill McDaniel. Unfortunately, he's had an accident and was unavailable to meet, but not in front of the commission.
And it would seem that this should go to them first and then come to us.
It can come to you guys and then be referred to the planning commission. That's actually how it would have to be done. So you can look at it and then send it off to the planning commission and then get the recommendation from the planning commission.
I personally would like to learn a little bit more before I just jump into something. I mean, if that makes any sense. I mean, certain things have certain implications and so on and so forth, and I'm not saying it can't be done. What I'm saying is that I personally would, I'm not saying put it off forever, but table it so I could learn a little more about it before I don't like to vote on things I don't know anything about.
May I make a suggestion that as it goes back to whatever groups that it does, that discovery happens during that time period, so that when it resurfaces itself back to here, that whatever information you're requesting or knowledge that you're wanting to get happens during that time period.
You guys actually can't vote on it today. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Right. If it's introduced into the legislative body, it has to go to the planning commission. So,
okay.
And you guys can send it, and then the planning commission will actually, let it give a recommendation and considerations that'll present to you guys.
Right. So it's passed to the board, so the planning commission, and then they send it back with a recommendation.
A recommendation.
And then it's up to us to act on it or not.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay.
And I believe, Randy, that's what you're doing today?
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I overstated.
Well, that's quite all right. And during that discovery, I'd like to give an open invitation to any and all of the group in this board to come to the hospital. We will fully open up our books and let you see what's going on and let you see the past several years of financial situations, but also let you understand with what profit we make, what we put back in the community that makes no money. And there's quite a bit of that going on. So put that offer on the table during your expiration to have that opportunity to come to the hospital, review those records and see what's going on.
I'll definitely do that.
We need to motion to send it to the planning commission, right? I would entertain a motion to do that.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to send this item to the planning commission for their recommendation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Joe.
There we go.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? Last chance. Okay. We've got the claims and the payroll. I need a motion to either approve or disapprove the claims and the payroll.
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve the claims as presented to us by the auditor.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded, we approve the claims and the payroll. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Entertain a motion to adjourn if nobody else has anything want to talk to us about.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded, we adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, meeting adjourned.